Hey everybody, welcome to Kasi Bonsai. Today I'm gonna take you through how I took this, built it into a planter, and let it grow inside the planter for a good 2 or 3 years. And this is what it's turned to. Currently, I realized that it's no longer growing. It's stuck in this format, and I just felt it's time I just took it out and just rearranged the whole thing, put it back into the same container. Yeah, that is just a plastic holder with holes at the bottom. Yeah, this is what it turned out to. Kind of spaced it out, swapped the soil, put in some fertilizer, and an old dead tree in the middle, and behind the rock. And I found a nice boulder to just create an aesthetically pleasing look of the whole, let's call it a forest, just for the purpose of this exercise. It could fall under forest, it could also fall under terrarium, but I'd rather call it a forest. I got 4 trees in there that are still alive, and they seem to be doing very well. Let's get to it. Started out by clearing the rocks, and once all the rocks were cleared out, went through the whole process of decluttering the roots and separating everything, removing all of them from the container, and yeah, started unpacking them so as I could see the roots and understand why the growth had stopped. So you can see the roots were a tad bit long, and yeah, had to look at them and decide how much to cut off and how much to keep. After I had decluttered the roots and cut some of it off, I trimmed some of the trees. Actual fact, before I trimmed any of the trees, I kind of put them back in the container to see how the structure of the new container would look like, and whether would I like how it looks like, and would it suit the new idea I had in my head. But mostly I was thinking of how do I get the roots to spread out and let the trees grow. As you can see, some of them had stopped foliaging, they were not developing any more leaves. So I just figured if I declutter them and release the roots, they might grow back into, or might just show a bit of growth again. And in the long run, I intend of finding a bigger container so as I can do this again, but in a more better setting, like on a bigger setting, just for interest sakes. What normally happens is if you put any plant or flower in a bigger pot, it grows bigger based on the size and the space. The roots tend to grow bigger. So that concept also I might apply here after maybe a year or two. And if I see that there's no growth in between the 2 years, I might actually just change it immediately without having to wait for the 2 years. If you look at how I started trimming spec bunks so as I can give it a tree shape. Two things in mind that I was focusing on was, one, it's got a nice little small stump or trunk. It's not that big, but it's nice and grown. So I figured if I take it back to one leaf sets and create a tapered concept of it, it might grow up nicer than it was. And I just felt, let's just give it some character by leaving one branch on, so as it can still, have a space where it could actually send the rest of the energy to, so as the tree can grow taller. I looked at this one and figured, how much should I take off and how much should I keep. I kind of liked how it's structured and how it's kind of like the canopy looks like, and the space in between the canopy, it just gives a real tree-like form to it. I trimmed it in such a way that I kept that same shape, but also made sure that the root ball can sit firmly on the ground and sit nicely just before I add the soil on top of it and underneath it. This was one of the trees. It was a ficus tree that I had, and it died. So I kept the dead wood, hoping to use it, and that's how it became part of this forest. And I just realized now that it had taken in a lot of water and it was very brittle. So I decided now I'm gonna remove it and try the other one that I still had, which was also sitting outside, and I just felt it might look better. Plus it would work for the height of the trees to give it that real forest look, to say the other one is not too tall and died, but just the same height and the same size. Yeah. That's it for part one. I'm going to prep the soil and prep the terrain itself, or the forest itself, and start packaging it. Yeah. Look out for part two, and don't forget to subscribe. It really helps with getting a lot of the require for this, and to put out the tutorials and the information that I have on this. So yeah, don't forget to follow and subscribe. We're also on all the other channels: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course our YouTube channel. Yeah, thank you very much for your support. Hope you learned something. Comment, say something, and don't forget to clean your spaces while working. Yeah. Happy pruning.